Hey everyone, this is Amy from Humility and Doxology, and I wanted to come on and share with you a fantastic card game that the kids and I have been playing and enjoying since last night. And I have to give a shout out to my in-laws because they brought us this game yesterday. They came down on a visit to see the kids' homeschool choir concert, and they had found this on a recent trip. And I just really appreciate it because it shows that they know me and love me very well. And it has provided so much fun and laughter and enjoyment and sneaky learning, even though we're basically finished with all of our official school. This is totally learning because it's Shakespeare. So I had to come on and share this with you because it's so much fun. Called the Great Shakespearean Deaths card game. So if you're not a fan of morbid games or are concerned about talking to your children about really piteous, dramatic, gory, bloody Shakespearean deaths, you should turn this off. This game is not for you. But if you have a sense of humor and don't mind a little bit of violence, Shakespearean violence, and yeah, if you don't mind that, or if you have older kids, this is fantastic. So the first thing Emma noticed, or my daughter noticed last night when she was opening this, is that the actual directions, how to do Shakespeare Facebook Live, so excuse me, the actual directions themselves are kind of written in Shakespearean language. So the player to the dealer's sinister side shall begin by choosing a category from the top card. And it just goes on. It's all written in like silly spelling, like old-fashioned spelling. And all ages and sexes, men and maids alike may play, but all players must be living, however slight and feathery their breath shalt be. So it's just, even the directions are hysterical and fun. It's a stack of cards, and basically it's played like War. Essentially it's a war. It's like the game War. If you've ever played that, where you deal cards and whichever is the higher number wins. So it's not so much strategy that way. And then the object of the game is to end up with all the cards at the end. But the cards themselves are actually teaching you about some of the famous deaths in Shakespeare. And so, for instance, this is one everyone's familiar with, Julius Caesar. So there's a little illustration, and each card describes the speed of death, the gore and brutality, the fairness, the piteousness, the dramatic quality, and the last words. And the creators of the game have kind of graded each death in those 6 characteristics. So Julius Caesar, if the character's last words are given, so you're actually learning actual lines from Shakespeare. I am so in love with this game. It is so much fun. So for instance, Julius Caesar, his last words, we all know them. To Brute, then falls Caesar. So that's listed. It tells on the side of the card how the character dies. So Julius Caesar, assassinated, feared to be getting too big for his boots, stabbed by several conspirators. And then each element of death is graded. So speed of death, 7. Gore and brutality, he gets a 7. Fairness, he gets a 3. So, the authors of this game think maybe he had it coming. Piteousness, a 4. Dramatic quality, a 9. And last words, he gets a 9. So say we were playing this game and I only see the top card on my deck and I have Julius Caesar. You can't see it. I'm going to look at that and think, dramatic quality and last words are my highest numbers. They're both 9s. So I have a good chance of winning with that number. So I might say, okay, let's compare on dramatic quality. And then you would take your top card. You don't get to pick, just your top card, and lay it down. Your top card is Hamlet. Well, Hamlet, actually his dramatic quality of his death is an 8. Mine's a 9. So Julius Caesar beats Hamlet. Let's say Hamlet had compared on piteousness. Hamlet gets a 6 and Julius Caesar is a 4. So actually Hamlet could beat Julius Caesar had a different category been chosen. And so I would win and get to go again with my next card. Sin of the Poet. This also happens to be from Julius Caesar. His fairness, he's the only one who gets a 0 as far as fairness of his death, because it was completely unfair. He was torn to pieces by a mob who confused him with Cinna the conspirator. And his final words are, "I am not Cinna the conspirator." So I wouldn't try to compete with him on piteousness. He's not going to win. But as far as speed of death, gore and brutality, dramatic quality, he gets 7s for those. So let's say I want to compete with you on speed of death or gore and brutality. And Cleopatra is your card. Now, when it comes to dramatic quality, I mean, you can't beat Cleopatra. She commits suicide by asp, and her final words are, "Peace, peace, dost thou not see my baby at my breast that sucks the nurse asleep? As sweet as balm, as soft as air, as gentle. Oh, Antony, no, I will take thee too. What should I stay?" So, dramatic quality, piteousness, pretty high, but gore and brutality, it's just a poisonous snake compared to being torn apart by a mob. So Cinna wins. Anyway, so you go on like this and can compete. You see we have Polonius stabbed by a rapier through the arras. "Oh, I am slain," are his final words. And he gets graded. So it is just so much fun. You're actually learning the final words, the final dramatic last words of each of these characters when we know them. There are a couple who it happens off stage or we're not told their last words. And you learn actually how they die. So it's a fun game. It's silly, especially because our family, we really do love Shakespeare. I mean, my 2 older kids, they know at any given moment we could be having a conversation and then we'll all 3 look at each other and be like, there's a double meaning in that. So it's definitely just a part of something that our family loves. But this is just a great little game. And I think even if you weren't like a Shakespeare family, this could be a fun, kind of easy way to ease into it. Maybe someone's like, "Oh, that's Shakespeare, that's kind of stupid or dumb, not cool." Well, I mean, stabbed by a rapier, torn to pieces by a mob, hacked to death by Aufidius and a group of Volscian conspirators. I mean, these aren't, boring things. These are pretty exciting. And actually then as you go on to read the plays, or if you ever see them or signed them for school or for fun, you're going to have a little familiarity, like, oh, that character name or that event, I remember that. And even just having to compare the different elements, the fairness, the piteousness, the dramatic quality, really helps you actually think more critically about the plays. So I had to come on and share that with all of you. There also is a blank card, so that if there is, because obviously there's only, I'm not sure, like 32, there's only this many cards. So there's a lot of deaths in Shakespeare that didn't make the cut. But if there's one that you really just is your favorite Shakespearean death, they also include a blank card that you can write and grade yourself. And they say, "What? No Antigonus pursued by a bear in the Winter's Tale, I hear you say? That would have made a great card. It's got animals. It's got action." So they include a blank card if you want to make your own Antigonus. In the description here, I've dropped a few links to some other Shakespearean resources that we really love around here. And I'd love to hear how you include Shakespeare in your family. Have a fun afternoon.